Psychedelics and Quantum Perception, Doorways to the Unseen? Welcome back. I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Quantum Humans series. For centuries, shamans, mystics, and medicine men have claimed they could see energies, entities, or geometric patterns invisible to the rest of us. These experiences were often triggered by powerful plant medicines, ayahuasca, psilocybin, DMT. Western science dismissed them as hallucinations, neural noise, or the imagination on overdrive. But what if they were more than that? What if these altered states were actually revealing something real, something underneath our baseline perception? In this episode, we ask the question, are psychedelics unlocking quantum perception? To answer that, we need to step away from culture and into the lab. Let's start with the basics. Psychedelics like psilocybin, found in magic mushrooms, DMT, found in ayahuasca, LSD, and mescaline affect the serotonin 2A receptor in the brain. But unlike most drugs, they don't merely enhance mood or dull pain. They radically transform perception, color, shape, time, self-identity. Functional MRI scans show that under the influence of psychedelics, activity in the default mode network, the brain's ego center, diminishes, while communication between normally disconnected brain regions increases dramatically. Users don't just see more, they see differently. This is called neural entropy. The brain's activity becomes less predictable, more globally interconnected, and, critically, more sensitive to external and internal stimuli. In other words, the brain in a psychedelic state is operating more like a receiver than a filter. The usual gatekeeping function of consciousness, designed to focus on survival, linear time, and consistency, goes offline. And what takes its place is a radically expanded perceptual field. Here's where quantum theory enters. Recent experiments at the University of Sussex and MIT have shown that psychedelics may not just disrupt ordinary brain function. They may alter electron tunneling within neurons. Electron tunneling is a quantum process where particles pass through energy barriers instead of going around them. In standard biology, it helps explain enzyme reactions and photosynthesis. But in the brain, if tunneling changes, the speed and nature of information transmission could be fundamentally altered. This led researchers to propose that psychedelics don't just create strange experiences, they actually shift the quantum behavior of the brain's substructures. They don't just change the software, they temporarily update the hardware, unlocking modes of perception that were previously inaccessible. Let's go deeper. Under high-dose DMT, users often report contact with what they describe as entities, geometries, or living patterns of intelligence. These descriptions are bizarrely consistent across cultures and time. What's even stranger is that many users claim to receive specific information, warnings, instructions, or insights about themselves or the nature of reality. Neuroscientists call these effects hyperreal hallucinations, but a growing number of physicists and consciousness researchers believe they may represent something else: perception of non-local information fields. Non-locality is a core principle of quantum mechanics. It means that particles can be entangled, instantaneously connected across space. If the brain has quantum coherent structures, as we explored in the last episode, then it's theoretically possible that consciousness could momentarily entangle with information beyond spacetime, accessing data not stored in the body, but in the field. This might explain why some ayahuasca users report seeing electromagnetic fields, feeling the thoughts of others, or knowing things they've never been taught. In one study in Brazil, subjects under the influence of ayahuasca were shown images of electrical circuits and complex biological systems. Their recall accuracy of these unknown systems afterward was significantly higher than control groups. Was this enhanced intuition, or were they tapping into informational structures beyond the brain? We also need to talk about shamanic technology. In indigenous traditions, altered states are not random. They are controlled, guided, and structured. Through drumming, chanting, fasting, and breathwork, shamans induce highly specific brain states, often synchronized with geomagnetic fluctuations and lunar cycles. Many now believe this synchronization entrains the brain to wider quantum rhythms, allowing access to what they call the spirit world, and what physicists might call alternate fields of probability. One biohacker group in California is now testing biofeedback-enhanced DMT sessions. Participants wear EEG headsets that monitor brainwaves in real time. When the brain enters specific wave states, usually deep theta or gamma coherence, the system administers a small neural stimulus to maintain synchronization. The result? Users report longer, more stable altered states with clearer recall. Some claim they can now enter DMT-like states without drugs at all, just by training the neural circuits responsible for altered state access. Let's be cautious. These are early findings, but they suggest that the mind, once trained, may learn to enter altered perceptual fields intentionally. This is not unlike lucid dreaming, where the dreamer becomes aware and takes control. Psychedelic perception may be the same, only layered on top of quantum informational access, not dreams. If so, then the real revolution is not the drug. It's the state of consciousness it unlocks. Which leads us to another possibility. Psychedelics may be temporarily depolarizing the neurological filter that limits our perception to five senses and linear time. In a depolarized state, the nervous system becomes sensitive to background fields, the magnetic, electrical, and quantum fluctuations all around us. This could explain the seeing of energy, the feeling of consciousness in the room, or the experience of downloading information. Think about it like this. When you're sober, you're tuned to one radio station, your biological baseline. Under psychedelics, the dial gets knocked loose, and suddenly, you're picking up frequencies you didn't know existed. Some are beautiful, some terrifying, some informational, some ecstatic. But the point is, they were always there. The only question is whether our biology is equipped to interpret them. And this brings us back to the visual cortex. Studies show that psychedelics cause crosstalk between the primary visual area and emotional, mnemonic, and auditory zones. That means what you see is a fusion of memory, feeling, and environment. In that fusion, the brain may create a new sense, a meta-sense, that interprets not just photons, but fields, frequencies, or even probability patterns. There's even speculation that time perception under psychedelics is a form of temporal entanglement. Users often describe nonlinear time, seeing the future, or reliving the past with absolute clarity. In quantum theory, time isn't a straight line. It's entangled with space, mass, and observation. If consciousness becomes momentarily untethered from classical time, perhaps through suppression of the default mode network, then all time may become accessible. We're not claiming proof, but the overlap between psychedelic phenomenology and quantum theory is too strong to ignore. Patterns, fields, multiplicity, probability, non-locality, and collapsed wave functions all appear in trip reports and quantum equations alike. And here's where it gets critical for the future of human evolution. If altered states allow us to perceive quantum fields, whether informational, electromagnetic, or temporal, then they may serve as doorways to our next cognitive layer. This is the exact premise behind military interest in psychedelics. Not for recreation, but for strategic enhancement. The CIA's now declassified MK Ultra and Stargate programs weren't just about control. They were about unlocking intuition, remote viewing, and non-local cognition. In fact, several former intelligence operatives have stated that high-level remote viewers were often given microdoses of psychoactive compounds, not to induce visions, but to increase accuracy. They weren't tripping, they were tuning. And this is the future: tuned cognition, training the brain, not just to focus, remember, or calculate, but to perceive beyond its inherited limits. Psychedelics may be a shortcut, or they may be the key. But the end goal is clear. Human perception is not done evolving. We are barely seeing a fraction of what's here. And the compounds that have been vilified for decades may hold the map to unlocking an entirely new dimension of being. One rooted not in fantasy, but in biology, physics, and consciousness. This isn't about drugs. It's about what it means to see. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing. And no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future. Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems. The behavioral economy now governs access. 4. Hive Mind. Synthetic telepathy and collective algorithmic control. 5. Nanobots inside you. Medical, military, and programmable intrusions. 6. Grief Tech. AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading your mind, consciousness transfer, and data-based identity. 8. Deep fakes plus AI clones, the replication of reality and identity theft. 9. Quantum humans, the merger of biology with quantum systems. 10. Digital afterlife, where your data goes when you die. 11. Resurrection science, reviving life through synthetic methods. 12. Immortal science, the end of death as we know it. 13. Longevity science, gene editing, anti-aging, and bio-upgrades. 14. Designer babies, engineered perfection before birth. 15. Artificial wombs, birth decoupled from the female body. 16. 3D printing, printing organs, limbs, and even humans. 17. The humanoid era, the rise of synthetic beings among us. 18. Legacy humans, the slow phase-out of unmodified analog people. 19. Smart cities, algorithmic environments that watch and decide. 20. Cloud-based societies, citizenship without borders or bodies. 21. Hackable humans, emotion, memory, and behavior under code. 22. Biometric scanning, your body is your password and your prison. 23. Sex tech, intimacy reprogrammed by machines. 24. Extinction of gender, fluidity, deletion, and design of identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.